Even as Watchtower continues to argue in court that they do not baptize children, the organization released a new animated video on their official website encouraging children to get baptized. And a just released issue of the study Watchtower features even more extreme rhetoric about obeying the leaders at all costs. But is this a shift or is this reheated leftovers? All that plus more convention videos, all on today's Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Jake. Thank you for joining us on this fine summer morning. This is a live show, so if this is your first time joining us, this is impromptu and extemporaneous. Turn to extemporaneous delivery in your BE book. You'll kind of figure out what we're doing here. And welcome. Please sign off in the chat. You can be famous and get your comment on the screen. You can be famous for the exact duration that your comment's on the screen. We have a lot of cool stuff to get to today, some lies, some misinformation, and some fun videos to react to. So, lies, of course, are nothing new. And one of the lies that Watchtower consistently tells in court, and they are continuing to do to this day, is that they do not baptize children in the organization. Now, one example of this is in the leaked shunning document that the group provides to courts. I did a video breaking down this leaked document if you want to do a deep dive on that. And in one section of this, they say, we believe that people should be free to acquire knowledge so that they may make an informed choice. That is why Jehovah's Witnesses do not practice infant baptism and confer baptism only to a mature individual who has the capacity to understand his religious commitment. Now, you might have noticed that they didn't say that they don't baptize children. They said that they don't practice infant baptism. They just baptize mature individuals. And this tends to be the way that they characterize it in court proceedings, because they don't want to lie necessarily and specifically. They tend to lie by omission. For example, another example of this was a Canadian Supreme Court hearing in 2017. This one is somewhat infamous for the Watchtower lawyer here, specifically stating that Jehovah's Witnesses do not use the word shunning and that normal family relationships continue. So that is one fun thing, and you can dive into that shunning video for more reactions to that. But this tends to be how they characterize baptism in court, that members know what they're getting into when they get baptized. They have informed consent. Let's watch this.
For certain, Mr. Wall has lost clients. Members of the congregation, as long as he's disfellowshipped, would not normally turn to them. That's their personal decision that they make based on their religious conscience.
Mm-hmm.
But as Justice Wilson pointed out, that's to be expected. But then that's what Mr. Wall expected when he joined Jehovah's Witnesses at 20 years of age. He knew that it's that kind of community, and that's how they identify themselves. And that's
so the context here is that they're referring to somebody who lost clients due to being disfellowshipped and having a witness run and patronized business. And so he sued, and this went before the Supreme Court. And he's saying, well, when this guy got baptized at the age of 20, he knew, he understood his religious commitment. And so now everybody who's a witness or who's ever been a witness knows that this is absolutely not true. Probably a lot of us were baptized as children in the organization. Sound off in the comments, by the way. Sorry, I haven't shouted anybody off yet I haven't shouted anybody off. Watch yourself, and I won't have to do that. And I also haven't shouted anybody out because I like to jump in quickly, famously. Famously, there's no rambling up top. We just get right into it. So sound off with your baptism age. I was baptized at 14. I was 14 when I got baptized, so certainly not a young child, but also not not an adult, a minor, one might say. The next one says, I literally saw a 6-year-old get baptized at a convention once. 17, 14, Falling Tower, Miles Verde, 15. Lowe was baptized at 11. And yeah, AB says they encourage children as young as 8. And I believe in the video that I made, I showed a picture from jw.org of an 8-year-old child getting baptized. So yeah, so far, I see exactly one 18-year-old who was baptized. And somebody kind of correctly pointed out here or suggested it's actually quite rare for somebody who was born and raised in the religion to get baptized as late as 20, because culturally it is frowned upon to wait to get baptized, as we will see when looking at a recent Watchtower. The culture is, if somebody isn't baptized, watch your association with that person. They're not on the up and up, so up that they're in heaven. I don't know. You might have noticed I've got my combination coffee mug and pipe. So there's a little bit of that going on with my brain. None of us were old enough for a credit card when we got baptized. Yeah, and I'll tell you who's really not old enough to get a credit card is the protagonist of Watchtower's cartoon series for children, Sophia, of Caleb and Sophia fame. And yet, here we are, the steps to baptism. Now, I haven't watched this at all. I have heard tell, and we're going to check this out. It seems to me that I don't know why they bother lying about this, because it's very obvious with just a tiny bit of digging. For example, asking, I don't know, any kind of small sample size of what age they were when they were baptized. Skippy says they were baptized when they were 5. That is a new record. Pics or it didn't happen. No, just kidding. I don't even know how you could possibly provide pics in the YouTube chat, but that is incredibly young. I have indeed heard of a 6-year-old getting baptized in my territory, or in my circuit anyway. So let's check this out. Cringe alert. And thank you to all 100 we have joining us. How exciting. And we're all about to, all 100 of us, lose our minds. Well, look at these fine folks here. Who are these guys? Because none of these people are Caleb and Sophia, so we're getting into the Watchtower expanded universe. Or maybe it's the parents.
Wow, that looks like me.
That's the derpiest face.
What is it, my dear?
How do you get baptized?
How do we feel about these redesigns, by the way? I feel like they are way more generic. It looks like they got some new like animation software and they had to create entirely new models. And their eyes are a little creepy and shiny but dead, which is technically the eyes of a cult victim. You get that glazed over, no light behind the eyes look. So I guess it's more accurate.
That's a good question.
And an important
How do you get baptized? Question.
What is it, my dear?
How do you get baptized?
How do you get baptized?
That's a good question.
And an important one.
Mom looks so young in this picture.
Oh.
Hey,
Yes, you can be young, like your mother. What matters
You can be young, like your mother. Your mom was young when she got baptized. Yes, it does. It looks like it is attempting to be more Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks adjacent.
is that you love Jehovah
Oh, that's all that's important.
and want to follow Jesus' teachings.
Drawing a picture of a man drowning, being eaten. These are the kinds of pictures that creepy demon children draw in scary movies that get them sent to child psychologists who end up, hanging themselves. That's just a hypothetical movie that doesn't exist, but yeah.
Closely.
you can show that you want to get baptized by what you do.
Oh, perform
like
manual labor for
obeying
the
your parents.
organization.
Learn about Jehovah by
Oh, so this is the lore. This is the racially ambiguous parent of Sophia and Caleb. Well, although now they just look straight up white. The mom has kind of darker skin in the modern versions. I feel like they wanted to go for a racially ambiguous vibe for Caleb and Sophia, and the dad who has kind of an indiscernible European accent of some kind.
Reading the Bible. That will help you obey Jehovah.
Sparlock! Has anybody alerted Caleb to the fact that Sparlock, the wizard, has returned, but now he's a dog? This is lore. If you're a Never JW, this is a little callback, I do believe, to the very first Caleb and Sophia cartoon, where Caleb, Sophia's brother, has to learn the important lesson that Jehovah doesn't like specific toys if they are reminiscent of wizards, which aren't even real. But cartoon wizards, toys of cartoon wizards, are abhorrent to the Most High God. And so this is just a fun little callback to that. And some people are saying warrior wizards are cool, and this guy certainly looks fucking awesome. He's part Buzz Lightyear, part Merlin, part a janky weapon you craft in Tears of the Kingdom, like part Paw Patrol. But even though he is every appealing children's cartoon combined into one to make one unholy monster, young Sophia's mom says no. And I feel like they're going for 80s hair for Sophia's mom. They're going for like the 80s high, wear the jeans way up high and wear your hair to make it very big vibe.
And avoid things that Jehovah hates.
Then you'll want to share your faith with others.
Especially in the ministry.
And at the meetings. Make friends with others who love Jehovah.
And most importantly, tell Jehovah in prayer that you want to serve him forever.
That's why we get baptized in public. It shows others that we've dedicated our lives.
I can't believe that they made something this creepy. This is so creepy. Talk to your invisible friend Jehovah in prayer fervently. Tell him how much you love him and want to serve him forever and never leave him no matter what. Perform public displays of preaching. Knock on people's doors with little tracts, getting them to join your religion. These are all things that God wants you to do. All of these things, of course, insinuate that this is a very serious commitment. Well, that doesn't insinuate it. It makes it clear that it is, right? It's a very serious commitment. But I think what it puts in the minds of children is, I'm not making a frivolous decision. Me, a little kid, I'm really thinking about this. I want to serve Jehovah, so I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to follow the steps to baptism. And that way I know I haven't just been taken for a ride. I am dedicating myself to Jehovah. Now, of course, are you allowed to, I don't know, look up any information from scholars or historians or ex-members or courts to get informed consent? No, you're not necessarily allowed to do that so much, but you can be a tiny little frozen character and get baptized, contrary to what Jehovah's Witnesses' own lawyers say, in a court of law.
It's Jehovah.
That's so cool.
Would you like to get baptized one day?
That's so cool. It's cool. The baptism is cool. That's very important. It is not lame. You are not, locking yourself into a lifelong contract with built-in penalties for ever leaving. It's cool. It's just fun and cool, and it'll make your parents happy.
Why don't you learn a little more about the steps for baptism and share it with us at Family Worship?
Okay.
Shit with us?
Baptism. And share it with us at
Share
Family
it.
Worship.
No, a little,
Okay.
little dicey. We did a great job, honey. We did a great job. Look at us raising our kid to make the same exact mistakes we did. If we had to waste our life in this stupid organization, our kids have to as well. Okay, so that was pretty bad. That was pretty horrifying. She did not actually get into the baptism pool, which is interesting. And Dickers asks, "What if Sophia said no here?" Now that's an interesting question. What if she's like, "That sounds lame. I don't know, Mom. I've been learning about informed consent in school because I don't live in Florida, wherever I live, and it sounds like it might be a trick, or it might be a manipulative and uncool thing to do." So, yeah, I think it would have been great if Jehovah had radical sunglasses and a skateboard. Whenever Jehovah's not on screen, we should be asking, "Where is Jehovah?" Sorry, I got a little allergy situation today. We took Peaches, our puppy, out kind of for her first day on the town yesterday. And I took her. We went to a coffee shop and kind of let her hang out with us and took her for walks and stuff. So it really kicked up my allergies. Anyway, so that's going on. I don't know, Mom. This baptism stuff seems kind of cringe pilled. Yeah, yeah, it is extremely not based to get baptized. It is not Bible based at all. So lies are nothing new. But is the group becoming more extreme? Because it is certainly one thing to say to children uh, in a publication that they should get baptized, but is putting it in a cartoon more visceral? I think yes. But I was thinking about this subject of whether or not Watchtower is getting more and more extreme, because this quote was going around like the XJW subreddit yesterday. This daily text from just this weekend, Friday, June 23rd. And our theme text for today is Acts 16, verse 4. They would deliver ... the decrees that have been decided on by the apostles. Now, important context here. The important context is that the governing body see themselves as the apostles, the older men in Jerusalem. They are the 21st century equivalent of this first century thing. And the comment, because it's nice what Watchtower does. They'll tell you, they'll give you this out of context scripture that means basically nothing on its own, but then they tell you what it means and what to think of it and how you need to live your life. So Jehovah always does what is right. I mean, if he didn't, we wouldn't really have any way of knowing because he's invisible. All right. The challenge for us, however, might be to trust in his human representatives. We might wonder whether those with a measure of authority in Jehovah's organization really act according to Jehovah's direction or their own. The plain truth is that we cannot say that we trust in Jehovah if we do not trust in his earthly representatives, those whom Jehovah trusts. Today, Jehovah leads the earthly part of his organization by means of the faithful and discreet slave. First time a scripture has been mentioned, and what does it say? Okay, well, it's Jesus asking, who really is the faithful and discreet slave whom his master appointed over his domestics to give him their food at the proper time? Question mark. So not an answer, not an explanation. If you had a question, they answer it with another question. Look over here. But really, the implication is that, well, who is the faithful and discreet slave? We are. After all, we're telling you, and why would we lie about that? Jehovah trusts us already. We just told you that. Like the first century governing body, which isn't a thing, this slave oversees God's people worldwide and gives direction to congregation elders. The elders, in turn, implement the direction in the congregations. We show that we trust in Jehovah's way of doing things by heeding the direction we receive from the organization and the elders. Like, yikes. It's really just very blatant. The plain truth is we cannot say we trust in Jehovah if we do not trust in his earthly representatives. They can't prove that Jehovah trusts them. All they can give as proof are verses in the Bible that they say gives them the authority to tell you to believe the Bible verse that they have interpreted for you. Does that make any sense? So there you go. Now there's some questions about numbers and some questions about numbers. 66% of children leave. There's some question about that. That may be the case. There was some Pew research that examined retention rate. 2 out of 3 leave either by not getting baptized or by his fellowship. Yeah, I think that sounds right. But unlike Watchtower, we should probably actually back up our sources. So I'm not prepared to say whether any of that's true. So I refuse to comment. No comment. Sorry, the vibe is weird. But like, is this any more extreme than anything they've said in the past? I kind of think no, to be honest. If we look at the sacred text, for example, JW Facts, no. JW Facts is amazing, and I feel like people forget about good old JW Facts sometimes. So here's a quote from a publication called Qualified to be Ministers that they put out in 1955. If we have love for Jehovah and for the organization of his people, we shall not be suspicious, but shall, as the Bible says, believe all things, all the things that the Watchtower brings out. That is almost worse, I think. Like, it doesn't even have the seasoned with salt spin of like, we put our trust in those whom Jehovah trusts. That has a certain cult logic to it, but this is like, don't be suspicious of what? Don't even worry about it. Don't be suspicious of anything that you might even think is suspicious. Just trust all this shit we put out. So there you go. And I think, by the way, I think, oh, okay. So that data was from 2016. I thought you were saying that the publication was from 2016. And I was about to say, my dear fellow, it says 1955 on the screen. But like, if you go back through, like they say this stuff all the time and always have. To act consistently with our baptism, 1959 Watchtower, for life and into the greater Noah, we must submit to and cooperate with that slave and its legal instrument, the Watchtower Society. I don't know. I feel like in a certain way, they've gotten better at making it sound slightly less creepy, but I don't know. I don't think that this is anything new, right? Now, this came to mind for me because the next video I'm working on, like the next proper edited video, will be similar in like the script to the last one I put out, but it'll probably be me talking to the camera instead of voiceover. That's not important. I'm going to read you the David Splain apostasy talk rebuttal. I talked about it when it came out a little over a year ago, I think. But like the audio was terrible and it got out of sync with the video at a few points, and the video itself was also garbage. So I think it needs redone because it's a really important talk. It is something that they just had witnesses review for the midweek meeting. And I think that it is really emblematic of the defenses that they are going to keep on using to deflect from criticism and to kind of jingle the keys at the members and say, look over here instead. So I'm doing research for this script so that the rebuttal can be not absolute dog shit. Now, if you go back, though, to this, some quotes here on JW Facts from the 80s, I think that really what Watchtower does is like hardly new light at all. I think what happens is that when things tend to fall out of the group memory, they can retrot it out as if it's not new light, but new, even more urgent information. Does that make sense? Like the final part of the last days thing is something that they said back in the 60s. That phrase even was not new to Stephen Lett trotting it out, and then it was reused in this year's feature film drama, of course. But this is in 1986. Not to be quickly shaken from your reason, quoting that bullshit that Paul said. Being in Jehovah's spiritual paradise is not something we can take for granted. We came into this paradise voluntarily. We can walk right out or be put out if we go into unbelief or willfully violate Jehovah's righteous laws. Of course, this will not happen if we keep strong in the love we had at first. But the devil and other opposers of true worship are skilled in deception. We should never forget that they stand ever ready to break our integrity if they can. Their propaganda is designed to weaken our faith, to cool our love for God, to sow doubts in our minds, yes, to make the spiritual paradise appear to be no paradise at all. This is basically exactly what Stephen Lett says. And many of the points are like word for word from this. But there is one section of this that I thought was kind of interesting in terms of them reheating old leftovers, but also it's hard to say whether or not they've really become more extreme, because listen to this little number. Let us illustrate matters in this way. Suppose your teenage son received some pornographic material in the mail. This is an old-timey publication for a few reasons. Not only is he just like looking at porn, but he received pornographic material in the U.S. postal system, snail mail, snail porn. What would you do? If he was inclined to read it out of curiosity, you would say, yes, son. Or sorry. Ooh, big important difference. Would you say, yes, son, go ahead and read it. It won't hurt you. From infancy, we've taught you that immorality is bad. Besides, you need to know what's going on in the world in order to see that it is truly bad. Would you reason that way? Absolutely not. Rather, you would surely point out the dangers of reading pornographic literature and would require that it be destroyed. Why? Because no matter how strong a person may be in the truth, if he feeds his mind on the perverted ideas found in such literature, his mind and heart will be affected. A lingering wrong desire planted in the recesses of the heart can eventually create a perverted sexual appetite. And yeah, they they go on to say, well, if we would act so decisively to protect our children from exposure to pornography, should we not expect that our loving Heavenly Father would similarly warn us and protect us from spiritual fornication, including apostasy? He says, keep away from it. So, there you go. I don't know. That's almost even more insane than what they say now. But like, listen to how similar this is to what they say now. They posted a little excerpt from it. Let's see if this contains the relevant portion that I'm thinking of.
First, let's talk about apostasy, and we'll call it spiritual poison. Now think about poison. What's the best way to avoid being poisoned? Well, we have to recognize poison when we see it and then avoid it. And the same principle applies to teachings.
Deep spiritual things of God. This is not milk. This is the meaty stuff here. How do you avoid poison? Well, you don't eat it. You don't consume poisonous stuff. Amazing.
That could destroy our faith. And that's not always easy. Now, not many of our brothers and sisters would deliberately get involved with apostates, but it could happen without our realizing it. You know, we receive letters at times from brothers and sisters who are troubled by something they saw on a web page. An accusation, a rumor about the society or about the organization. And the problem is, they had no idea that apostates were behind it.
Well, of course you can't, because they never say what apostates really do or what they say or who they are. They just are out there being sneaky about things. Anyway, my larger point was they're still trotting out this same old crap, aren't they? So that's been on my mind. But I do think that even with all that in mind, and I say all that to kind of keep myself in check because I don't know, like I make videos, right? And you try and think of an angle for approaching like a script or a rebuttal, and certainly for title purposes, you want to be clicky and have something captivating. So it's easy to say like this is objectively the most extreme insane thing I've ever done, and I kind of think that David Splain talk is maybe the most important talk of theirs that's come out in the last 5 to 10 years. But I try and look at old stuff to keep my hyperbole in check because a lot of the times they really have said something identical 50 plus years ago. But this is the 2023 Watchtower, and we have to admire this picture, in my opinion. Wait, no, come back. I want to see this guy's like taking a hardcore dump face. Look at this. Look. This was me. Oh shit. I haven't shared my screen yet. Oh, well, it's going to be great when you see it. You ready? Boom. Now that, if you want to know what it's like having Crohn's disease and what it was like before my surgery, this is what my bowel movements were like. It was this level of pain and suffering. And really, I related to Samson. I hadn't thought about it, but there you go. This is a pretty creepy Watchtower, all things considered. It has a choice quote that's been making the rounds on XJW socials. I'm trying to see, is this the one that has the quote? There's one about friendship. It might be this one. Yeah, okay. I think it's this one. It's about young ones to keep on theme. Yeah, that is what I was trying to say. My hair was my strength, but it also prevented me from taking shit. So it was kind of like one of those classic Greek myths where the one thing that gave me power was the one thing preventing me from taking a dump. Like Zeus. That was his origin story. People forget. How will your life turn out? And this immediately reminded me of that video that I talked about in that symposium rebuttal I did for the channel, where the parents, upon hearing their child express a desire to play soccer, say, "Oh, we just got a glimpse of what his life will be like without Jehovah," which, of course, is the scariest, most horrifying thing in the world. And so you got shit like this. Worldly people, they look at dresses that are nice and they think, "Oh, I could wear that dress." But you, as one of Jehovah's servants, not to be confused with Jehoash's servants, you gotta be on guard against looking in shop windows and aspiring after riches and luxuries. So, our choice of friends. Frankly, if your friends do not love Jehovah, you do not need them. But if you have friends who love Jehovah, hang on to them. They will be good for you. Wow. Again, just really deep spiritual stuff. And I think it's worth pointing out this little number that they trot out. And I don't know why I keep using that expression, little numbers. She's looking at a nice little number in the window. And we have, let's see, 193 watching. That's a nice little number. And we also have to look at this little number, which is, you don't need to worry about having friends of the same age group. We do not need to limit our association to those of our own age group. Remember, Jehoash was much younger than his friend Jehoiada. So this is a contributing factor to CSA and the organization, kind of encouraging children to become close friends with adults who are like weird cult victims with severe psychosexual issues, they contribute to their own issues in a lot of ways. Like there's never excusing disgusting crimes like CSA, but it all also they create an environment where that can thrive, and then where abuse victims can be shunned and blamed for their own abuse, and where the perpetrators can be forgiven and have that hope of eternal lasting life and all that kind of shit. Stephen Mather, XJW royalty in the chat. It's always been crazy, but I think the new stuff is more shocking because it's so much slicker. It didn't look so stark coming out of a cheaply bound book with yellowish pages. Yeah, I agree. This has always been the thing that I think helped my waking up process the most, was just something about seeing this stuff portrayed in videos really does make it more stark and surprising. They're also leaning into social media being scary. I don't know if you noticed, but a couple weeks ago, they had a front page article on jw.org about the health crisis. I can't remember the exact like warning that the Surgeon General of the United States put out. He was interviewed on the podcast offline about it, about like social media addiction. And it was really interesting. Like the effect that constant access to social media on kids' brains is genuinely it's up for discussion. It is a matter of some concern. And but of course, Watchtower is going to weaponize this and make their members even more isolated. So here they say social media can be an efficient way to stay in touch with family and friends. However, many people use this form of communication to impress others, posting photos and videos of what they might have bought or done. If you use social media, ask yourself, is my motive to impress others? Is my goal to build others up? Or is it to boost my image? Am I allowing the people who use this tool to influence my thinking, speech, and actions in a negative way? Brother Nathan Knorr, who served as a member of the governing body, gave this advice: don't try to please men. You will wind up pleasing no one. Please Jehovah, and you will please all those who love Jehovah. A couple interesting things here. One, I don't know. I feel like some of the most obnoxious showboating that I ever saw on social media was from following Jehovah's Witnesses and like JW accounts that show these, I don't know, glossy convention pictures of people in foreign lands looking all shiny in their suits and dresses. And the other thing it does is something that I noticed a few times throughout the convention and in recent talks by the governing body, where they will cite previous governing body members as if they were apostles of old. And here they just cite Nathan Knorr as a source, like they might quote the Apostle Paul. So that's pretty fucked, right? It's pretty fucked up. And yet, stay humble, right? The governing body runs the writing committee, and in order to support their positions, they quote a previous member of the governing body. But stay humble, folks. Stay humble. You know, like the guys who put themselves on your TV a dozen times a month. Yikes. So all of this stuff is quite bad. And again, you have this imagery of your life as a battle, a war against Satan, which is something that terrified me as a kid. So cool. All this stuff for young people is cool, but what's really cool is when people give me money. So thank you, Earth Girl 7 for $10. We really appreciate it. Do contribute to the puppy fund. All of our expendable income now goes to stuff for our dog, by which I mean like vet visits and stuff. So keep that in mind. You know, it goes to a good cause. And yet, mildness, which goes to me, and I don't want to dwell on this for too long because I don't know, a text-based Watchtower article is pretty fucking boring, but like patience, mildness, be docile, be subservient, and listen to us always, no matter what. We could better respond if we first consider that there may be reasons why an invitation to a birthday party is being offered. Wait, I want to read this. That cake looks amazing. I want it. It's not because I've been smoking pot. It's because that cake looks good. If a workmate asks, for example, why we do not celebrate birthdays, consider, could he be wondering whether we are allowed to have a good time? Or might he feel that our position will dampen the company's team spirit? We may be able to ease our workmates' concerns by expressing how much we appreciate his interest in fellow workers and assuring him that we may want to enjoy a pleasant environment at work. Or not that we do want to. That might open the way to a relaxed conversation about what the Bible indicates regarding the subject of birthdays. We might use a similar approach when other controversial topics come up. A schoolmate might assert that Jehovah's Witnesses should change their view of homosexuality. Oh, fucking hell. I didn't even know we were going here. Or could it be? Oh, sorry, I skipped a line. So they might assert such a thing. Does that reflect a misconception about Jehovah's Witnesses? Or could it be that he has a friend or a relative who is a homosexual? Does he assume that we have no love for people who pursue that lifestyle? We may need to assure him that we care for all people and that we respectfully recognize that each person has the right to make his own choices. We might then be able to highlight the Bible's beneficial moral standards. Happy Pride, everybody. Jesus fuck. This is so bad. Okay, so forget all the other stuff I said. In light of Pride, let's talk about this for a second. This is such weaselly shit. Now, if somebody asserts that witnesses should change their view on homosexuality, there might just be a misunderstanding. They might be under the impression that you give a shit, and you shouldn't, because we're never going to change our view on it. The misconception that they're referring to is that, from their point of view, they think that they are not homophobic because they don't, I don't know, just actively say that we hate and or are afraid of what homosexuality does to our patriarchal norms. Like, they don't say that specifically, but they say that you can't be a witness and be gay. They say that they don't have any gay members because all of them are celibate and have obviously kept all those desires in check. And so they're not homophobic because, in some broad, nebulous sense, they respect. Oh, sorry. No, they don't respect. They respectfully recognize that each person has the right to make his own choices, which doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. I recognize that you have chosen differently. Cool. That means absolutely nothing. Yeah, you obviously don't have any meaningful love for gay people because you call it a pursuit of a lifestyle. Something that no intelligent human being has said since the late fucking 90s. Ay. But what I love is this. Or could it be that he has a friend or relative who is a homosexual? Why can they not admit that a gay person is going to ask you this as a witness? You're going to be out in service. A gay person is going to ask you, why don't you allow LGBTQ people in your church, in your organization? It's not going to be, well, it's just that I have a friend who's gay, and I don't really get it either, but I feel like I should support him. I don't know. What does the Bible say? Like, whatever. But they have to present it like this because they know that it is horrible as a witness to talk to somebody who's gay. And, luckily, I was able to avoid that. But the reason why I stopped going out in service, even before I did any apostate research, was because I knew, I cannot preach this. I don't believe it. I don't want to go to somebody's door and tell them something I don't even believe. I don't agree with this. So they have to make it, I have a friend or a parent of a friend who's gay. Even in their hypothetical scenario, it's like 2 layers of weasel words. Are you aware of Kathleen Crick's 5F church call? I have no idea what any of this means, except for $1.99. That's a language I speak. I don't know. But no, I don't know what that is. Can you give me some more information? Chandler says very accurately, they are anti-sex, anti-pleasure, just like all religions. It takes form in different ways, often homophobia. And that is really true. They are anti-sex in really most of its forms. If it is not within the confines of marriage, with the open possibility that you might start a family and raise your little kitties as Jehovah's Witnesses, well, no sex for you. They respectfully recognize that there is something called universal human rights, but that respect does not mean they abide or agree with it. Yes. When I came out to my JW mom, says Jehovah's Witness, she literally said, "Can't you just stop that?" It was astonishing. Yeah, I remember having a conversation with my mom, really the last meaningful conversation I had with my mom. It was it was when I was in the hospital right before being disfellowshipped, like the week before I was DF'd. I actually needed a blood transfusion and I was in the hospital for like a week. And my mom came in and talked to me, really to say goodbye and to reaffirm that she would in fact be shunning me after I was disfellowshipped that coming week. But I brought up this and she's like, "Well, we're not homophobic. Do you think that I'm homophobic?" And like, I know that my mom doesn't necessarily agree with this doctrine because she's mentioned that she struggles with it. But what's she going to do on Saturday? She's going to go out and preach. And if she talked to a gay person, I mean, what's she going to say? I don't think our group is right about this. No, you're not going to say that. They won't let you out in service if you go out and start preaching things that aren't the group doctrine. So whether or not you passively accept it or passionately agree with it, you're still homophobic. Sorry, folks. What's our friend? Oh, okay. They're based in LA, very similar to Jehovah's Witnesses and how they brainwash members, including my cousin. Ooh, well, I will have to look into that. Very interesting. Every time you guys say DF, I hear DTF, if only. But witnesses are famously not DTF, famously for DF'd. That's a thing they're strongly in favor of. Now, we have a little bit of a treat to get into, if you could call it that. We have not on this channel watched all of the convention propaganda. And this year at the convention, something I've wanted to talk about is some returning characters. The Watchtower cinematic universe is something we keep a close eye on in this channel. And first of all, thank you. We have over 200 people watching. That is amazing. I'm flattered. Appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe. That stuff is all free and it really helps me out. If you leave a comment in the main feed, even if it's just to say good video or just to say the word comment, it helps. So I do appreciate it. But the Watchtower cinematic universe is in full force, folks. 3 Fs, full force, folks. And so we are going today to watch some returning characters. I haven't watched these. I pulled up the day and moment where the video propaganda starts because the talks are incredibly boring, but the videos I think are interesting. So here we go.
Jehovah may bless your efforts. But in this dramatization that we're going to look at, let's look at how a father helps his family to cultivate patience when preaching.
That I'm riding witnessing, writing little notes.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Olivia. How's it going?
It's going.
Okay, so if you don't remember, last year at the convention, and I think that I talk about this in the, I think the video is called something like "Watch David's Plane Hates Women and Children." It's something very clickbaity, but it's a pretty funny one. It's one of my favorite ones I've done, and it's definitely my favorite from last convention season. This family is featured a lot in last year's convention. They are a blended family, so Watchtower really putting on their big boy pants and dealing with real world issues. Sometimes people get remarried, and the guy and the gal, they have kids from a previous marriage. Now, it was established very clearly that both of their spouses died. So there was no divorce, that would be a little too spicy, I think. But yes, here we go. No more torn jeans. They ran the gamut of all kinds of Watchtower scenarios, from modesty and dress and grooming, using your phone too much at the table, making your family worship exciting, and the kid who she's talking to on the Zoom screen ended the last convention by going to Bethel. He was struggling with some anger issues. He was pressured for not being political enough at a cart, and he wanted to punch them in the face. He wanted to be violently angry with them, but he suppressed his urge to be violent and instead took all that pent up energy to a cult compound where nothing weird will ever happen to him.
Good. Just doing another letter writing territory, so you know how that is.
Okay, well.
Hey, Gabe. Good to see you.
Hey, Sue. It's good to see you, too.
Is that Gabe? Oh, hey, baby. How's Bethel?
Hey, Mom. It's busy, but great. I'm learning a lot.
Oh, look who just got home from work.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Max. So, if it's possible, can you send me some more of my...
Okay. So, you almost definitely didn't notice this because I didn't notice it. I just realized I lied. I watched like the first half of this demo just to make sure like the sound worked and everything. And the thing that they're going to end up critiquing, I'll bet you didn't notice. There has been a problem. You have noticed a problem. You might not have realized you noticed it. What is Olivia, the person here, about to be corrected on?
things? I can text you a list.
Absolutely. I'll get right on it.
Great. Thank you so much. Olivia, I'll let you get back to letter writing.
Great.
Hey. All right, we'll let you go. Love you.
Okay. Love you, too.
Bye.
Bye.
Based. This is the way.
So, Olivia, I thought that you enjoyed letter writing.
I don't know.
Aha! She did not speak positively of the ministry, folks. She had a somewhat hawing attitude towards the joy of letter writing. Right? That's a very nice comment. It's something I can't relate to. I think I have average whiteness of teeth, not average straightness of teeth. I got two little crooked teeth that bother me. But thankfully, no mean people on the internet ever comment about it. Yeah, so she was not speaking positively enough about the ministry, which is a pretty big problem. Yes, I have a least favorite type of ministry, the words of a heretic. Yeah, huge problem. How will this be corrected with God's discipline?
It just feels like another letter, another envelope, and another black hole.
Black hole?
Yeah, stuff.
Right? Has she been reading some of these pornographic letters we heard about earlier, talking about black holes?
Stuff goes in, but nothing ever comes out of it.
It's not that bad.
What do you mean? You were just telling me that no one's responded to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Dumb
Yeah,
bitch.
I get a little antsy for replies. Like I texted my old classmate, Sarah, but she just hasn't said anything back to me yet. I just hope I didn't overdo it. What do you think?
Yeah, this
Is it
letter's
too much?
shit. Absolute shit. Yeah, it
Do you think it's too much?
You blew it?
It's too much.
Sure she'll get back to you.
Well, you have right now, because now they're sharing the screen with this guy. Sorry. Yeah, she's right. This is something that's kind of interesting. I've noticed throughout this convention is they'll have like people bring up relatively reasonable concerns, but then twist it into being something bad. And you might have noticed this in that aforementioned David's Plain talk about apostasy. If you remember my shitty rebuttal that I'm redoing, he mentions like as a example of something that might be discussed on a forum that's critical of Jehovah's Witnesses. What if we hear somebody say that the governing body is out of touch? They live in they live in Bethel. They don't know the real struggles of people. Well, he doesn't respond to that criticism. He doesn't respond and explain how they are in touch, and that's not valid or true. He just moves on and says, we wouldn't ever want to say something like that. And I feel like that's what's happening here is she is saying something that is true, but they are like, stop saying true things to me. But also she left a cringy long letter, and I'm starting to wonder, is this going the direction of, if you don't enjoy letter writing, it's because you're doing it wrong? That's what I'm thinking.
All right. Is everything on Gabe's list?
Thank you.
At least we'll have a little more room for when your mom moves in.
Yeah.
Damn. Your mom is so big, we're going to need more room when she moves in.
Anyway, Gabe will love this. He already told me how much he misses fishing.
He'll love his own stuff that he already has. Oh, that picture.
What if we do something a little different for family worship this week?
Sure.
This fucking guy. This is all you can do. You know, if the family, you know, the reason why their family is feeling a little funky is because their son works at a cult compound. And he does work there. He does not get paid. He is giving his labor for free. So he's moved out and is doing weird stuff, probably scrubbing toilets for the branch. And the daughters in the family are feeling lonely because they miss their brother. And also because they spend hours and hours of their time writing letters to strangers about what's going to happen when their loved one dies and is resurrected in paradise, which is an extremely bizarre thing to be spending your time. It's a very lonely thing to be doing. Like, in the best of circumstances, writing by yourself is a little lonely. And if you're not writing like fun fiction, you know, Olivia could be writing fan fiction. Maybe Olivia's a Raylo. I don't know. She could be writing something fun, but instead she has to write sad letters about an imagined Armageddon to strangers and then never hear anything back. And little does she know, that person saw the letter and posted on Reddit. Like, I got this weird, creepy fucking letter. Yeah, yikes.
So this is where you and Gabe would fish, right?
Well,
Yep.
we will be doing that.
We learned a lot of lessons about fishing here.
You know, it might be nice just to go out with your family for fun, and that's it. And the only reason you're doing it is to be together for fun. But even though that is a thing you are allowed to do as a witness, they won't even give you that in these videos. It's like, it's family worship. Everything should always be worship, kind of.
So lately, preaching's felt like a black hole, right? We have the right
black
equipment.
hole.
But what does a fisherman need more than anything? Second Corinthians 6:4. It says, but in every way we recommend ourselves as God's ministers.
You know, to make this personal for a second, I was thinking about my own, like, you know, just experiences, like good times with my family growing up. And, you know, we really had fun family vacations. But the things that weren't fun about them is, you know, after dinner, we would read the text and do the Bible reading for the week, you know, do some of the Bible reading for the week. And there was always a day where we did the Watchtower together as a family. And that stuff is lame. Like, I think that this is kind of a shame. Like, you can be a really good parent in Watchtower, but it all has to circle back around to this toxic, isolationist and exclusionary and bigoted group. So your level is capped kind of low as a parent within Watchtower. So yeah, I think it's a shame. It's just ruining fun. Water Baby says fun. What's fun? And you know, a lot of people don't get to have any fun at all as a witness because their parents can justify it as well. We should be preaching.
By. Now, what does verse 6 say, Olivia?
It says by purity, by knowledge,
Oh, good.
by patience.
patience. It helps us to keep trying again and again.
True.
To not give up. And we're not casting into a black hole, but into a blue sea full of deserving ones. Now, maybe
they're gonna wear fishing waders to the lake. That would be so fun.
we can't see it, but Jehovah knows they're there. And it may take some time, but if we're patient together, we'll find them. Now, Irene's got some great ideas on how to make our letter writing more personal.
Ah, indeed. It was not, let's try a different form of ministry. It's, well, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. This is my favorite. This is my criticism of people who, don't like the channel. They're watching it wrong. They just watched it wrong. The video was actually good and you just didn't watch it right. It's a convenient excuse to have in your back pocket. I wonder if this guy's going to acknowledge that these are returning characters, by the way. The Watchtower cinematic universe continues, friends.
Did you notice how the family was helped to see the importance?
No, I noticed how they were the same family from last year. Why did they do this and then they don't talk about it? That's very strange. But of course, it's the did you notice the only obvious point we were making with this drama? So let's see. This next corpse that they rolled out of the pet cemetery. Okay. Uh-oh. I see somebody edgy. I see somebody edgy. And if I think I recognize this person. I think that this person that we just saw, and I don't think I have the video on my channel anymore where we talked about the video, but there was a video last year when the daughter is in school and the teacher is confronted with the teacher confronts Olivia with like, what's your organization stance on homosexuality? And of course, Olivia makes a stand for her faith. And this kind of like alternative looking girl comes up to her like, that's interesting what you were saying. Can you tell me more? And so, yes. Okay. Confirmation. This is the student who's very impressed about Olivia being anti-gay. Let's we'll find that clip later if there's time. So apparently it was so successful that she lasted to she's now kind of like an Agent Coulson in the expanded universe of Watchtower. What's your name? Darcy? Who's
all ready for section 2.
The fuck's character's name in the Thor movies. It's that character.
Right? Guess so. Okay. Well, first we'll see how false religion gets God totally wrong.
They're doing this at school. This is so fucking weird. This is so weird. I would have never done this. Like, I never worked up the confidence to really start a Bible study at school. Like, to the extent I witnessed in school, it was like explaining my beliefs and why we did or did not do certain things as witnesses. But I cannot fathom having a Bible study with a fellow high school student. Yeah. Can I hear more about this homophobia? This sounds great. I've been hearing a lot about it on the radio stations my dad listens to, but you're putting it in a more youthful way?
Did you get a chance to study?
Yeah, I read
no,
ahead.
It's true.
Okay. Is everything okay?
I'm fine. Let's just
I see 2 future allies here, is what I see.
get started.
Okay, so then we'll watch a video on churches during World War II and why Jehovah will have no choice but to... Something's up.
I see. So...
And did you get a chance to study?
Yeah, I read ahead.
Okay, is everything okay?
I'm fine. Let's just get started.
Okay, so then we'll watch a video on churches during World War II and why Jehovah will have no choice but to...
Will have no choice but to... This is really, really interesting. Wow. Thank you to everyone joining the stream for this revelation, this climax at hand. So it would appear that Olivia, really the goofus of the family, not a gallant, more of a goofus. And before, she just was so stupid about writing her letters and having the wrong attitude, and now she's being kind of a cringe witness. She's doing a study in school and she's talking about cringy JW stuff. Like, not that it's not true, but that she's kind of talking about the cringy stuff. So I think that's the issue. I'm genuinely interested to see where they do this.
Something's up. What's wrong?
True. Problematic, Olivia.
I don't know. I read that all religions are false.
Well, yeah, but you have to remember that, like,
I don't know. It's just.
What?
It's just all getting so serious.
Well,
listen, I thought you were based and red pill when you were just talking about how gay people are bad, but now that I'm hearing that some religions are not true, now it's like a serious religion. Like, it's interesting from the perspective of the teaching committee, which is I understand that the teaching committee like heads up the videos, and the writing committee is more of the written publications. It's interesting to think of, like, they are strategically trying to find a realistic scenario and portray when you're studying with somebody and they start getting creeped out, but they want to put it in a way that, like, the witness will understand what's happening, but also doesn't acknowledge the sorts of things that a person might actually say, like, it's all getting a little culty, or don't you think this is a little extreme or a little weird or unreasonable? And they're not going to say that. Thank you to Lo for the $10. A nursing school. I did a presentation on why Jehovah's Witnesses don't accept blood. I brought in blood pressure for every student. The dean caught wind of it and took them away mid-presentation. Oh, that sounds very embarrassing. I'm sure I did something similar when I was in school. I think we had to do a class presentation on like a Supreme Court case, and I think I chose like the Stratton, Ohio case or one of the witness cases.
Yeah, it's life and death. Why waste time on this study if she's not going to take it serious?
So you said all of that to her?
No.
Skipping over genocide is a good band name, by the way.
Just the well, yeah part. But I wanted to. She used to be so excited for study. I don't know. Maybe she's just not getting it.
Oh, I think she is learning.
Hang on here.
Maybe it's just really sinking in.
If it's sinking in, then what's the problem? Maybe it's me.
Oh my God. Olivia, no. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame yourself. It is not your fault that your religion is this weird and that it makes you do this, and that the things that you have to teach are demonstrably conspiratorial and insane. That's not your fault. It's not you. So in a way, this is a good message. But a better lesson for Olivia to learn would be, now that I'm seeing our doctrine through the eyes of a neutral observer, it's starting to strike me as a little crazy. I don't know if I believe this anymore. So we'll see if that happens. Maybe.
You know what really helped me when I first started pioneering? I learned that Jesus had to be patient with his disciples. They weren't always ready to learn the things that he was teaching.
Casey says, I know most of you here are atheist or agnostic, but I would like to say I have a testimony of Jesus Christ. He is my savior. Follow Christ. He is the way. He is true freedom and love. Well, hey, we want all comers here, whether you're a Christian or whatever religion. That is fine, but nobody asked. So don't worry about it. This is... this is a religion that preaches and proselytizes, and so we generally don't take kindly to that kind of thing here. I mean, I think I'm being kind, but yeah, that's fine. Just keep Jesus, you and Jesus hang out over there, and we'll just be making fun of weirdos over here. And you can like Jesus and
It means
not
that
like
we have
his
to be
idiots, by the
patient
way.
with our Bible students too. Let it reach your heart. And be patient with yourself.
I was thinking a lot about our study, and I really wanted to know how.
So I wasn't trying to like shame that person. I was just reading the comment, and then I saw people being like, "Hey, no." But yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't care if anybody loves Jesus. Just, be aware. I see this come up on the XJW subreddit too, where people will be like, "Hey, I feel like I'm not welcome as a Christian here in the subreddit." And there are lots of XJW Christians and people who are spiritual but not religious, or just or whatever denomination of religion after leaving. But I think you just have to remember that you're talking to a group of people who had to like specifically preach and are going to be triggered by being preached to. It reminds us of that kind of thing. So if you get a harsh response, that's why. But I'm not bothered by it. So sorry, I wasn't trying to shame old Casey here. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
How you were feeling about it.
As I was reading ahead, it finally hit me. All the churches in the world are lying.
Oh, what a dodge. What a convenient thing to happen. Olivia didn't have to defend the weirder and less savory parts of her religion. It just, the Bible student read ahead and was like, oh, as it turns out, I agree with all this stuff already. So there you go. There you go. That was so easy. Just trust in Jehovah and you won't have to ever deal with anything hard, except when you do. And that's not his fault. And you can't expect him to miraculously intervene,
My mom's included. And God's just going to destroy them all. Maybe I'm just not ready for
True.
some of this.
I understand where you're coming from. Give yourself some time to learn why Jehovah's ways are just.
But like not too much time because the end's coming
The
any
better
day.
you get to know him, the more his teachings are going to touch your heart. Trust me. I promise you it'll be worth the wait.
How would you know? Olivia's never done anything else. She has no experience doing anything other than be a Jehovah's Witness. So she can't really promise this in good faith, can she? I'm telling you, they have a unique way of finding great like sapphic chemistry in their videos. There's going to be a crazy documentary 30 years from now about how all these people found love.
Okay.
Yeah?
It
Okay.
is a thing. It is such
So,
a thing.
let's get to
And
know Jehovah better.
I think that all the people in this family, like in this particular part of the JW cinematic universe, like they're particularly bad examples of like the glossed over eyes. It's really, I don't know, it's really obvious. Don't love it. Yeah, I love this from XJW Caleb. Give yourself time to get indoctrinated till this makes sense. It really is like you just have to give yourself enough time to stop to stop listening to that little voice that's saying this might be crazy. Don't listen to that.
Do you remember?
Oh my God, they're representing GIFs or GIFs. We don't discriminate against any religion that anybody belongs to. This is people that will be eating this up in the organization. They'll love this. Like, oh, people really do communicate like that. It's great how progressive the organization's being. They're progressive, they don't accept the queer community in their religion, but they do acknowledge that moving loops exists in text form. And also you can send a weird, super long religious screed to your Bible student and they'll only ever think it's awesome. And our religion's not weird. And they won't be weirded out by it if they just study hard enough. Yeah, amazing.
So, did you see how patience made our sister a more effective Bible teacher? Her student told her, "I'm just not ready for this."
I want to see how they contextualize this, because this is a very strategic way of dancing around this issue.
What's she saying? "You're tearing down the fortress on top of me. I'm still in it." Our sister didn't give up and keep plowing ahead, though. What did she tell the student? "Give yourself some time. Let's get to know Jehovah better." And then rather than moving into lesson 13 at the start of section 2, she went back to lesson 7.
Oh, amazing. It's the order of the lessons. Now, I talked about this in in my humble opinion, extremely good video that I did. No, it's fine. But I talked about this new study brochure that they have, Enjoy Life Forever. So this is the new study publication. This would have been what Olivia is studying with her girlfriend, her goth, edgy girlfriend. You know, it starts off very simple, basic, and with broadly appealing things. How can the Bible help you? The Bible gives hope. Who is God? How did life begin? What's Jehovah like? Oh, how can the meetings of Jehovah's Witnesses benefit you? Okay. But for the most part, it's like, oh, Jesus, and what did Jesus do while he was on earth? How is the good news? Oh, baptism. Oh, wow. Okay. Why do evil and suffering exist? Oh, yeah, you know they're going to rope you back in with that. But then, like, when you get to section 4, our clothing and appearance matter. Choose entertainment that pleases Jehovah. The role of the faithful and discreet slave. Support your local congregation. Maintain unity in the congregation. What if you commit a serious sin? Loyal to Jehovah. Endure persecution. I mean, like, if we're into the serious phase of the publication, it really does get extreme the further into the study you go. Like, you go from who's Jesus and how can you be Jehovah's friend to change the way you dress, speak like a Jehovah's Witness. So put on a new personality, literally change your external expressions, your physical attributes, the way you present yourself. Change the things you watch and the way that you entertain yourself. Start listening to these weird old guys. Just slide that into the last section. And then, yeah, give us money. Maintain unity if you disagree. And then you might have to get disfellowshipped. But please don't, because Armageddon's coming and we're going to be persecuted in the time of the end. Like, it's really important to recognize that if you study with witnesses, sometimes you'll see people post in the subreddit, or sometimes like even in chat, like people will come in and be like, "Hey, I'm studying with witnesses. I don't know how to tell them to stop." Like, it is important to stop, because the deeper in you go, the more extreme it gets. But they're only going to bring in this stuff after you're going to meetings, after you're forming friendships, you're starting to make changes in your life. They don't start with World War II era prophecies and numerology and stuff. They start with stuff that's appealing and being friendly and nice. So there you go.
And help her student learn more
Yeah,
about.
yeah, shut up. Okay. Let's get to kind of, I don't know, cult Kent. StreamYard's video player is absolutely terrible, which is why I have to like slowly scroll through this video to find the next thing. I'm going to play a little bit before this because I need to get more water.
To be in it with a long-range view, and to be able to try to understand the individual situation, to put ourselves in their shoes, so to speak, so that we can become what that person needs at that given time and give them meaningful help. Keep in mind, though, not all of us are good communicators, and sometimes we might have trouble expressing ourselves. So it's good to remember that even if we're helping an individual like that, they still need friends, and we can be that friend to them. It's also important for us to be ready for the challenges that we might face. And one of those challenges might be an individual engaging in wild talk because of the stress that they're
Wild talk.
And that was the case for
Fun, you don't always get to hear these real inside baseball JW terms. Wild talk. This is a phrase that Jehovah's Witnesses like to throw out that I think goes back to the book of Job, that some of the ways that Job bemoans Jehovah was dismissed as wild talk, that sometimes when you get emotional, you say things you don't really mean. That's what wild talk is. When people say things they don't really mean. But a lot of time wild talk is like, I don't think that the governing body are really directed by the Holy Spirit, or what if this isn't the truth? That could be dismissed as wild talk. I think the elders made the incorrect decision about the carpeting of the kingdom hall. That could be wild talk.
Job, the faithful man.
Oh,
he
it is
had
true.
lost multiple family members. He had a financial setback.
Okay, I thought that I didn't rewind quite that much.
Sister shows patience when encouraging a fellow believer.
The jibber jabber translation of
He's
the
just
Bible.
going to be working even more. I just don't know what to do about it because he's barely home as it is. Are you still listening to me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired. I don't have the support I need, you know?
I know.
And it never seems to end. I don't know why this keeps happening to me.
I know it seems that way, but sometimes the decisions you make have consequences that don't go away.
Damn.
Excuse me? Not everyone is perfect like you. In your perfect life, Irene.
I'm sorry. That's not what I meant.
I don't have time for this.
I'm sorry, that's not what I meant.
Everything okay?
That was brutal. That was brutal. Actions have consequences.
Dora just hung up on me.
Well,
all
maybe
because
she
I
was just
said
having a
something
bad
really
day.
mean. For no
Every
reason.
day is a bad day for Dora. It's not my fault that she married that guy from work.
Dora is taking
I just
a
wish she would have
beating.
listened.
It's not my fault she married that guy from work. Ah ha ha ha. So Dora married an unbeliever and they will never be happy. They can never be happy. So their actions have consequences. So it is important to remember that our dear sister here is right. Dora Downer. Yes, she blames Dora hanging up on her. She's the one who said something cruel and unreasonable. But of course, this is just what happens to people who don't follow the direction, who don't listen to Jehovah. So, everybody so far in these videos has just had to be a witness even harder in order to overcome their issues. So I don't know. Maybe this will be different.
She has made some bad decisions. But that was years ago.
Such a fucking dweeb. She has made some bad decisions. But he's just always smiling with these weird wide eyes. He is creepy. This guy sucks.
Don't give up on her.
I'm not giving up on her. I just need a break from her.
Wow.
I know this isn't easy. But try and imagine what it must be like for her.
Wow. Next level empathy.
Reflect on statements like that, we can agree that hope is so important. Why? Because we all deal with suffering and tragic events.
Always. These fucking people in these dramatizations, all the unbelieving husbands, and it's always a husband. I don't know why the men never marry worldly women. I think I actually know the reason for this. I think it's because most independent women in the world would not find the idea of an extremely controlling and patriarchal virgin super appealing. Like, men in the organization are operating at a pretty low pretty low level. There's not a lot there for people outside of the religion, and that's I speak as one of the mediocre men that this organization produces. Believe me, I'm not casting aspersions, but it's a reason why everybody who leaves this organization has issues with sex and dating after they leave. If you're single leaving the organization, you've got ground to make up, and relationships aren't things that are just guaranteed because you share a faith and proximity with somebody. So of course, it's the unbelieving husband. It's women who I think are probably drawn to somebody with more life experience and maybe a little bit more self-confidence and stability in their life. They're not inhibited by financially by having to work part-time and pioneer. So there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to marry a Jehovah's Witness, but no, you should settle for the weird pasty virgin schlubs that we produce. Speaking present and accounted for. But I'm not a virgin, okay? I am married. Meanwhile, she's buttoned up to the chin. Oh, she looked at the camera. Do you want to do another take? She aspires to that. She aspires to being a sad couple wearing a suit in their own house, looking at a laptop screen. Ay, ay, ay. It's interesting how they incorporate this Zoom imagery into the material that they produced during COVID. Yeah, this idiot doesn't even realize
Makes me
he's
think
problematic for
first
not joining his wife's Zoom call with her Bible friends.
Thessalonians 5.
That would be
11.
horrible. Now, all that happened, sorry to keep fucking pausing this, but like all that happened for her was that she was on the meeting and her husband came home from work, presumably, and cracked open a beer and sat on the couch, which isn't a problem if, you're Protestant and your wife's Catholic or however religions work. And you're just like, this when you're dating and you work this out because you don't worry about sex before marriage. You know each other well. You know that religion's not going to be an issue for you guys. So there's no resentment, but this is not a thing that you're allowed to really discuss as a witness, especially if you're marrying an unbeliever. She probably started the relationship under somewhat like false pretenses because she wanted to downplay the witnessiness or downplay her commitment to it. Or maybe she was going through doubts or spiritual weakness at the time. But now that she's married, she feels this level of guilt and wants to come back to Jehovah. It's just absolutely preposterous. This organization is their own worst enemy.
Encouraging one another and building one another up, just as you are in fact doing. We can do so much good when we're patient.
He definitely was. This sweater is
just like Jehovah is with us.
Get up. I've been keeping an eye on it. Talk to Irene and I hit the green. So you talk to.
Hi, Irene.
Hi, Dora.
I was calling because I wanted to apologize for what I said.
I'm sorry, too.
I
was
I
right.
know that you're dealing with a lot right now.
And I really do see how much you love Jehovah.
I just want you to know I'm always here for you.
Thanks, Irene.
A limp sock. I love it.
That really means a lot to me. I was thinking about going out to service tomorrow.
Would you like to go with me?
I'd love to go.
Great. I have this really cool new return visit. Her name is Katie.
Aw, see, they both apologized. It's amazing. It all worked out.
Did you notice how being patient made the sister more effective? She placed herself in her friend's situation, and that moved her to action.
Did you notice that? Did you see it? Oh, look at this guy. Oh, boy. This guy looks like he's trying to shut down the community center in a dance movie from the 80s.
Well, to find the answer, please open in your Bible with me to 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 2. 2 Timothy.
I just wanted to bear thorough witness to that guy's face and his whole general vibe. I think this is the ideal way to watch his talk, I have to say. Just a funny face.
Do everything that Paul asked him to do and not even...
Funny face montage. Show us the video, you coward.
So these are our public talk schedules.
Hey,
for the
Wayne.
past few years.
Hey, Sister Jones.
Hey, what are you two up to?
Wayne's going to be helping with public talk scheduling.
Ooh,
Oh, great.
Look out, Wayne.
I'll let y'all get to it.
Is there about to be some spice between Irene and Wayne?
So,
or Dwayne?
we already have these week's schedule.
Already forgot his name.
We just need to keep confirming with the
Dane?
speakers and quickly replacing any cancellations. That's pretty important.
I can totally do that. I actually have some new ideas on how to handle that.
Okay, good. But a phone call should be fine.
Don't worry. It's not that hard. I can handle it.
It's not that
Can I show you my idea on how to streamline the process?
More than a phone call?
Yeah. The speaker isn't here.
Oh, smash cut.
Sorry, what?
The comedic smash
Did you call
cut.
and confirm like I asked you to?
No. Dramatic Vine boom sound effect. Good lord. This
But
is
what
so
can I do?
weird. This is a point that they focus on a lot in these videos. I feel like every year there's some video dramatization of a young brother who thinks he knows the cool new smart technology way to do things, but it turns out listening to the older brothers, doing it the old way is best. And I can't imagine the reason why the organization would feel strongly about that kind of mentality.
Well, nothing now.
100% Poindexter vibes.
I'll take care of it.
Make his ass give the talk.
Speaker, so I have to give the talk now.
Loudly making a showy display of his mopery. Yeah, this is my dad. Kind of sour vibes and
You did a nice job on your part.
performative niceness.
Thanks.
I think Wayne just forgot.
Wow, Irene is defending Wayne just because they want to do it.
Hey, Gabe.
Wow, I didn't even
How you guys doing?
pick up on
good.
that.
How
It's
are
true.
you?
Good. I'm doing good. I'm just checking on the things you were sending me. They haven't come in yet.
Oh, no, that's weird.
They want subservient company
It's
men.
my fault, Gabe. I completely forgot to send it. I can't believe I missed.
The old guy forgot a thing too. We're not so different, you and I.
Sad.
It's okay. Don't worry
No,
about
it's
it.
not. You needed
No,
those
no.
things, Gabe.
No, Max, it's fine. Don't worry.
Up. Your dad
Everybody
fucked
forgets
up.
things sometimes. And it's just one package. You and Mom already do so much for me, so don't worry. It's fine.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gabe. I'll get right on it. I gotta make a phone call.
Okay. Things are getting pretty busy
I
around
just realized that I forget things too. Please don't sleep with my wife.
I'm sorry about the mix-up.
It's okay, Wayne. We all forget things sometimes.
What, he had to come over for this? We've established they have Zoom. This could have been an email.
You know,
Max.
I want to apologize myself. I didn't mean to lose my patience. I shouldn't have reacted like that at the Kingdom Hall.
Especially
Sorry.
after patience was the theme of our convention.
You know, when I first got this assignment, I made some mistakes myself. Really? Yeah, I really did. So I had scheduled to.
By the way, I mean, did Wayne even make a mistake? It sounds like he did let the speaker know. He just didn't remind him via phone call. So I think that they can both come together on the, you know, the no-show speaker being a jackass. I mean, it is nice. There's nothing wrong with this, you know? It's fine. It's fine. Now, remember, guys, this is the best life ever. If you serve Jehovah, you can be as happy as this gentleman right here. A picture of health and happiness.
Initial.
Okay. I didn't realize there'd be quite so many of these fucking videos. Wait, we might be done.
What we do.
This looks Bible-y.
He indicated this by means of an illustration involving an unforgiving slave.
This man has unusual proportions. That's my takeaway. I feel like somebody drew his head on too small. Too small a head on too big of a body.
Let's watch the video and see how it goes.
I think he's a galaxy brain guy.
That is why the kingdom of the heavens may be likened to a king
What
who
the
wanted
hell
to
is this
settle
shit?
accounts with his slaves. When he started to settle them, a man was brought in.
What? Why was there a little bit of like Mark Sanderson speaking mid-sentence and then it trailed off? Why did that happen? Okay, well, I guess we're done with the modern day examples. We're just on to boring Bible-y stuff. So that was really weird, right? What was that? That didn't have anything to do with anything. They played it like it was diegetic music, like the ancient Israelite was going to like walk up with a Walkman listening to Mark Sanderson talk. Well, thank you for joining the show today, guys. This was so fun. Probably no new edited video this week, or if there is, it'll be by the end of the week. I'm still finishing up the script, and I still got to film and edit it. But I'll be back with weird, dumb stuff like that Succession intro thing I made for no real reason. So thank you. Please do like and subscribe and share around. Consider joining the Patreon. And always feel free to email. Feel free to check in. It was super fun, and I love you. So much more than anything. No, I don't know. Sorry we didn't get to show off any pets today. Or Bo is here sleeping in the window, but he's so sleepy. I don't want to ruin his nap. And everybody's sleepy. Christina's sleepy. Peaches is sleepy. So good sleepy vibes to you, and have a great rest of your weekend.